Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Spiral Offcast. My name is Danny.
And my name is Chris.
Hi, computer Chris. How are you doing?
I am Will.
Are you good? Are you like oiled up? Do we need to brush off the graphics drive and whatnot?
Yes, brush off the graphics drive and tune down the ultimate.
I need to like plug the USB back in.
Yes, like flip it around.
Did you try turning it off and turning it back on again?
Shut the
Shut the hell up, Marguerite.
Oh my god.
All right, welcome back to the Spiral Offcast.
And that really fucking off-topic intro.
Yeah, fuck yeah, we're keeping it in.
Yeah, 10 out of 10.
All right, well, this is episode 12.
It is.
Oh,
It
it's 12.
100% 12. Did you watch the other 11?
I hope
Because
you
I
did.
sure did.
I did as well. If you haven't, you better go start watching those. Check them out. While you're at it, check out some of our other videos on this channel. You got plenty of Let's Plays, one-offs, and full series you can check out. So yeah, welcome on in. Of course, if you've already been here, you know what the drill is. We're here, we're talking, we're chilling. It's a good day.
Get some food, get some drink, drive to work, drive home.
Or just sleep.
Yeah.
I've been listening to these when I'm like going to bed, and it's like, this is nice.
The dulcet tones of my own voice.
I know. I was like, no, it's the content. That's what puts me at ease. Is the content.
It's the content, and today's content is that sick season 2 of My Hero Academia.
That's right. We're back at it again with Academia. You thought we were done? No.
No.
No. No. So it's funny because the season 1 finale had gone up recently, but we recorded that a while ago, so there has been a decent amount of time since we watched season 1 and then season 2. So yeah, Chris watched season 2. Originally it was just gonna be the first tournament arc, but Chris, you kind of went plus ultra and finished the entire season.
I went even further beyond. I literally could. So after season 1, it was so good that whenever you had broken down kind of the blocks of episodes we're gonna do for season 2, I was like, okay, cool. And I started watching them, and then when I got to the end of the first block, I'm like, I can't end it here. I can't do it. I have to keep going. And I did. And I just couldn't stop for like, I think I finished all of season 2 in like a week and a half.
You really did. It wasn't that long of time. Like, I thought it was going to take you a little bit because we were just going to do well, originally the plan was we were going to do the tournament arc in 2 parts. Like the big first bit, and then like the second half of the tournament arc, and then the Stain arc and the final exam arc were going to be its own thing. So it was going to be like 4 podcasts for season 2, right. And then you finish the whole thing. It's like, well, shit, we might as well just like cover it.
I know, and in a way, you're welcome in advance, those fair listeners out there.
Yes. So, but we are still going to split it. So today we're going to talk about the first arc and kind of the first half of season 2, which is the tournament arc.
Yeah, basically 14 to 25.
Yes, 14 to 25, the tournament arc. And then we will follow up with the Hero Killer Stain arc, as well as the final exam arc, which is the rest of season 2. So, yeah, that's how we're going to do it. I guess we'll go ahead and start. Before we really start breaking it down, just general thoughts. How did you feel about this arc?
I gotta say, a lot of internal screaming with the level of hype that had been constantly throughout this arc.
I feel like I really like hyped it up for you. I was like, no, it's gonna start, it's gonna go right on into it. Like, you gotta throw a seatbelt on. It just gets going. Like,
you were like, it goes pretty quick, and they keep on going. And I'm like, okay. And I'm just sitting there watching, and I'm like, you know, we'll get into it in more detail, but just the first episode. Not episode 13, because that's just the recap of season 1.
Oh, the OVA, the 13.5.
Yeah, it's the hero notebook thing.
Yes. So
I just skipped that because
I looked into it. That is actually one of the few like OVAs that were made for the anime. Like there's like a couple of them kind of sprinkled, and that's the first one. And then yeah, for this this was the first time I had watched it just for the sake of like I wonder if it's just anything. It's literally just a recap.
Yeah, because
I was like, oh, okay.
It's been like, it's been a while since the last season came out, so you maybe want a refresher.
Yeah.
I get that. It's like the last season for me was like 3 weeks before I started watching.
Well, I think if the show has been going out the schedule that it had been, it would have probably been maybe a year since the season 1 had come out, and so it would have made sense why they would have maybe wanted to do a recap. But also I'm a dedicated person. I'm dedicated to this show.
Dedicated fan.
I am a dedicated fan.
But no, seriously, with episode 14, starting out with just Ochako and her wholesomeness, I'm like, okay. Damn, she's got motivation. She's good. And then and then when I'm bringing up the sports festival coming up, and I'm like, ooh, sports festival. I wonder if this is related.
Sports tournament arc. Oh man, this is a Shonen Jump anime. We got a tournament arc.
Because like the thing is, they didn't refer to the tournament in the first couple episodes, so I'm just thinking like, oh, is the sports festival? Is that? I wonder when this turns into the tournament. But no, the first we meet a bunch of characters. I'm like, there's a lot of assholes in this school.
Yes,
there's also like a lot of good characters.
We meet class 1B.
Yeah, which is like
which is funny because like when they came in, I was like, oh shit, that's right. There are other classes in this school, huh? It's not just these kids.
Nah, we just got the best class.
But it's funny because like their relationship, the two class 1A and 1B, it's interesting just because it's like it kind of makes sense where 1B is coming from, because like 1A has been the one that has gotten like they had like the villains attack, so they had this sort of like big like attention on them because of that and everything. So 1B is just like it's like the middle child that got like thrown to the side.
Yeah, it's true. But man, the hype was building up. Like when we like Shinzo.
Oh, Shinzo.
My opinion of him had actually changed.
Yes,
since
it did.
Him.
That was the funniest part, was when I was at home or I was at work or whatever, and you were watching it, and you text me a picture of Shinzo, and you're like, "Yo, this guy's a dick." Like, what the fuck is this guy? And I think I legit laughed. I was like, "Oh yeah, give it a few episodes, you'll change your mind."
And I'm just like, damn it, somebody hurt him.
Yep.
But no, and then 16 was fucking rad. That was with the race.
Was that so that was the big, that was when everything had started, was the big race.
So when that episode hit, that's when this season like took off like strong, and I literally could not stop every single episode I finished.
That's kind of like it, as soon as the sports festival starts and you hit that like the race, that's kind of where the show like floors the gas pedal, and it really doesn't stop.
No, I'm like, oh god, because I'm like at work watching it on my breaks. I'm like at home watching it in like succession. Just like, oh my god, I need to see all of this.
I need more.
And it's like, I don't need sleep. I need answers. And it's so good.
Yeah.
It's so good.
The race in particular, it's just like, it's one of my favorite parts just because like it's a clear like showing off of all these kids, their powers, and like in how in certain situations some of them work a lot better than others. And I don't know, it's really interesting, especially coming off of season 1, where a lot of season 1 was sort of just setting up everything. This, I mean, the whole festival in particular, but this really feels like the payoff to setting up all these kids, their powers, setting up just the variety of how quirks can be sometimes. It's like seeing them all like in action. It's so neat. Like putting them in the different situations. So they, like when they're like running and they have like the giant like robots again. It's like which ones can fight the robots really well, which ones aren't as good and need to rely on just running. Like,
and yeah, it was super cool. Especially because you see the powers they have a lot more, and just the way that you see them using it.
Yeah,
and you also see how some of them don't really know how to use their power very well. Because it's still really early. Like, this is still so early in their semester at the school.
This is like
So-
maybe like a couple months after the USJ attack, so it's kind of like, what?
So it's like a lot of them have really cool powers, and some of them know how to use them really well. Like Todoroki, he's just natural. Bakugo, natural with how he uses his abilities.
Yeah. Maybe it was only like a month after. I forget how long it's been. I was thinking a couple months, but then I was remembering the next circuit said 3 months after. So I think this one was only like a short time after, if I'm not mistaken.
It was relatively soon,
Recent after. It wasn't too far out.
but yeah. As far as opening thoughts, fucking hype.
Yeah.
Great fucking season. Holy shit. This season sold the show stronger than season 1 did.
Oh yeah.
And I obviously I finished all of season 2, and we're gonna just talk about the first half.
Yes.
And then season 3 is gonna happen,
And then we'll get into that shit.
and it's like we're got a lot of podcasts coming in, guys, from My Hero Academia.
Honestly,
You didn't think we'd make it to season 2, probably.
no. You probably thought, oh no, they're not continuing. No.
Yeah, like we stopped at like
We stopped in like the
episode 7, and we just never came back to it.
legit.
And joke's on you, we finished everything.
Which is so funny in hindsight. It's like, no, we recorded that, and then we're just kind of like waiting there, and like, all right, let's go hard now.
Let's go hard.
Yeah.
And speaking of hard, let's really break down the great things in this season.
Yes, let's do that. First thing, I want to say this. I want to say this before we go, before we really get into like the nitty gritty with breaking down like what was good in this arc. I want to say the fucking intro is like really cool, but the fucking outro in this, the outro song, is my favorite of this show, or at least among my favorites. There's some really good outro songs, but the first one in season 2 is so good. It is an absolute bop.
It is an absolute.
I was actually, I'm not gonna lie, I was blasting it on my way over here when I was driving over, just because I wanted to get in like the zone for season 2. So I'm like
hype.
blasting it. It's so good. The full version too. It's just like oh, it's so good.
So good.
It honestly. But do you agree? Do you disagree?
Oh no, that shit was fucking fire.
That's good. I'm glad you agree.
Yeah, the second.
I was gonna say is like I really hope that I'm not the only one who just like blasts this shit.
It's like, you like it, right?
Please, please.
Please.
What is it called? Little Glee Monster. And then you have Dakara Hitoriane.
It's a hell of a name.
It is a hell of a name, but it's a hell of a song. So
Right, gotta say. Second intro of the season, not feeling it too much.
I wasn't feeling it.
The animation for it was cool,
Yeah,
but the song wasn't really fitting the fucking crazy hype that was happening in all the episodes.
yeah.
But that's okay.
And then the outro too was like, he's right.
It's alright. But you know, they can't all be winners.
Exactly.
Season 3, though, I'm interested in what those intros, outros are gonna be, though.
Oh no, you'll. I won't spoil too much, but I will say that the first intro for season 3 is amongst my favorites that the show has given out. So we'll get to that when we get to that. Right now, season 2 time.
Season 2 time.
Okay, so yeah, the sports festival tournament arc. Let's break down some of the really good stuff. So, like we were saying, that whole like beginning race was really, really cool. Just a really cool like display of everyone's powers, and like not just the class 1A, but then you also get to see like class 1B. You get to see some of these other characters, from like general studies and whatnot, and it's like, wow, like these kids are on top of it. Like some of these are really interesting.
Yeah, like we see we see a lot of characters that we didn't see at all before, and then they're suddenly just coming out with these quirks.
Right.
And then people in the other classes, like 1B, like the fucking copy guy.
The little blonde little douchebag.
Yeah, God.
Monoma.
Such an asshole.
Something like that. I'm gonna look it up real quick, just because like I really do want to remember this kid. He is so, his power is great. I don't hate his power. I hate him as a person. I do. It's like, oh, he's such a little shit talker, and it's so funny when like even his own class is like, shut the fuck up.
He really is, and it's great.
It's
Honestly, I was really happy that Ojiro got a lot more attention this time around. Because in season 1, he kind of seemed to be kind of in the unfortunate spot.
Yeah.
In the USJ attack and everything. With his quirk just being that he has the tail.
Basically.
But in this, in the race, like he was actually excelling because of he's using it to like jump and everything.
He really was. That's what I'm saying though. It's like it's just interesting, like, seeing like some of these kids like Ojiro that didn't really have like crazy like powerful quirks or anything, but they do get to shine like in certain ways here. It is really cool.
And then Todoroki just out the gate in that race, freezing like everyone.
Yeah.
And the entire ground, and everyone's like slipping. Just really setting the bar.
Exactly. Okay, yeah, that's Monoma. His name is Monoma.
A little piece of shit.
Fuck you, Monoma.
Oh, such an asshole. But Bakugo and Todoroki are basically just like taking charge of this race right out the gate.
Well, of course, because Bakugo just wants to fight everyone. But then Todoroki wants to prove that he's the most powerful, so then it's like, although he's not anger-driven like Bakugo, he's still, like, he's on top of it.
I like how Bakugo's, like, motivation sound and, like, sayings most of the time are, I'll kill you or die.
Or, damn you.
It's just, like... It's great.
Could you imagine, like,
angry boy.
You're in, like, a city that's being attacked by villains, and then you're like, where's the heroes? And then you hear, like, explosions, someone's coming in, and all you hear is, I'll kill you! And then just fucking takes out the villains. It's like, oh, God.
It's like, there he is. Bakugo.
Bakugo. It's really funny, though.
It is. And then, Ida, of course, this is like his... This is a good moment for him.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's like...
Well, it's a race. It's like, yes, the fast boy can do it.
It's his thing. Fucking Mineta wasn't having a great time, though.
Well, it's Mineta.
It's Mineta.
It's Mineta. Yeah.
And then,
he really wasn't going to make it too far in this tournament, was he? Whether it was this or the combat, it's like Mineta wasn't gonna make it far, was he?
It's like, oh, this poor boy, just
little grape juice boy,
little grape juice cork out of water boy.
Yep.
But the race, fucking crazy. All the different robots showing up.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, that's like kind of like a throwback for not just us, but for the students.
For like the entry test.
Yeah, and they remember the robots, and it's like, oh, how are they going to handle it this time? And they just say, fuck it. They blow through it. This is where we see Kirishima and the steel guy.
Tetsu. Of Class 1B.
Yeah. Their abilities are just like, they're just unaffected by the robot in general because they just like rip through it.
Exactly.
Which is cool. And I like the little, I wouldn't say it feels like a rivalry, but just the attitude between him and Kirishima basically just being like, our quirk is the same. That's dumb.
You have the same quirk as me. It is really funny though. It's like, I mean, it's not a complicated quirk. I'm sure it's a common quirk of elsewhere, like, you know, just like the ability to like harden yourself or like be like, you know, like it's not too complicated of a quirk.
No, but it is interesting because there's actually the sustain of theirs are actually different, which I thought was really interesting.
Yeah.
But that's touched on a little later. The race is great. The end of the race, though, that's where shit gets crazy when they get to the little minefield.
Little minefield.
And I know you had a lot of hype thoughts about this too.
I did, because it's so like, well, first of all, imagine being at a school and you have like gym class and your task is you got to run through a minefield and just not like get hurt.
They're like, they won't hurt you, but They're big and loud.
They're big, they're loud. It's like, yeah, all right, like sure, why not?
Yeah, these won't hurt.
But no, it is crazy. Like, well, because obviously it's Todoroki and Bakugo that'll just have like the far lead. But then like the biggest like hype moment was like all of a sudden there's a loud explosion in the back, and you just see friggin' Midoriya just like flying on a piece of metal he got from one of the robots, and like manages to actually like almost like in the bobsled fashion, like through the air, just like catches up with them.
Not just catches up, but goes beyond them.
Good, like goes beyond them. Doesn't he? Like he like propels himself off that piece of metal too, right? Like
yeah, like so he basically gathered a bunch of
so he
used the metal to actually dig up a bunch of the mines.
He gathers up all these mines without setting them off, which is commendable. Like, wow.
Like, he's careful.
Could you imagine if he started them and then they just all went off and it's like, well, fuck this plan.
Just right in his face.
It's like, oh.
So yeah, he's like digging them up. Everyone else is like being real careful not to step on everything.
I think some of them were looking at him like, what are you doing?
And he's using the actual plate as like a shovel.
Yeah.
He's digging them up and he stockpiles them in like one hole. And then he's like, this is crazy, but I think it could work.
I'm going to do what's called a pro gamer move.
And he literally like, it reminded me kind of like Captain America. In a way, with the way he would use his shield sometimes like bounce.
Kind of,
like
yeah.
When he would jump off something and he would land like on the
shield. He would like
bounce.
He would use that as like to bounce off of.
Like to brace his falls and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, so Bakugo does it. Bakugo, Jesus Christ. Midoriya does it and Bakugo's mad about it.
Oh, Bakugo gets big mad about it. Because Midoriya comes out of nowhere. Like, literally, it's such a big brain move, and then like he actually manages to get in front of them, and yeah, the Bakugo's like, what the fuck?
Yo, and
I think even Todoroki's like, wait,
Todoroki's like, how? And Bakugo's
Todoroki's supposed to be the smart one. Like, come on, man.
Bakugo is just angrier. He's just like, you that.
And then what ends up happening?
Well, at the end, Midoriya is flying across,
yeah,
and he's like, oh, he's gonna make it, but Bakugo and Todoroki are going ahead, and he's not. Midoriya didn't think about landing. He's like, oh god, how am I gonna land this?
Yeah.
And he does an even gamer move, and he slams the fucking metal into the ground, which was so fucking cool. And he blew up all the mines that were there and knocked everybody away.
Yep.
Include like Bakugo and Todoroki were just like knocked aside. And he goes straight through the gate.
Midoriya ends up winning, and it's just like, man, my man.
Even the crowd's like, wait, what the hell?
Yeah.
They're like, he just came up and just shot past everybody.
He really did. It's so funny.
It was so good, and just Bakugo just angrier by the minute.
Like, what else is new?
It was such a cool little thing. It's something as simple as a race.
Honestly. Well, and it's just like with all the different quirks and how you can use them, and then like it was so cool. Really interesting and well done.
Oh yeah.
So then everyone ends up crossing sooner or later. You see all the ones that come right after Midoriya, and then I forget who exactly was in last. Probably Mineta.
Probably. I like how you throw it to Mineta. Like, it's probably him, honestly.
I mean, like when you think about it, like, well, because it was like, not only was it racing, but it was like you had the robots. You had that one part where they had to climb over like the canyons or whatever with like the big ropes. Then you had the minefield. It's like
which Hatsume.
Oh yeah, that's where you saw Hatsume.
Yep, she the support hero.
Yes,
with her tech.
Her tech and her motivation, her drive.
Yep.
She's super cool. I like her.
She is cool, and her tech is like fucking rad. And
she's like, so like, it's funny how like motivated she is and how like interested she is in this. It's like that's really cool. But yeah, we see her. She pulls out like, what are they, like boots or something? Like, right.
So it's like her entire excitement for being in this tournament isn't to win, but it's to show off everything because it'll be broadcasted.
Yeah.
So she's showing off like she's got these boots that can like hover.
Yeah.
They're like zero gravity boots and stuff like that. She has that, and then she has other attachments and she's just like zooming through across that canyon.
She really does.
Like with no like little effort.
Honestly. But I bring that up just because it was like out of those three, it's like Mineta wouldn't have like really done well on any of them.
This poor boy.
This kid, it's like
we're gonna redeem him maybe though. Hopefully.
Maybe one day.
One day
he will. But anyways, so after the race, we move into round 2 of the big festival.
Yep.
And that is the Cavalry Battle.
Right, the Curious Cavalry Battle.
All the kids have to basically get into teams and like
they play horse.
Yes, basically play horse. But what's neat is that kids have a certain amount of points depending on where they placed in the race. Mm-hmm. So you have some kids that are like 0 points, some that are worth like 100. And then Midoriya is over here worth like, how much was it? Like 1 million?
No, it was. I think it was.
It was like 6 million or something.
I want to say it was like 1 billion.
It was. It was a lot. I think it was like in the millions for sure. But because of that, no one wants to be on Midoriya's team. They all want to go after Midoriya. And then also they're obviously everyone's gonna go after Midoriya. It's like no one wants to be on the team that has him.
They really don't.
And it's like, oh no, the price of winning. Midoriya was so happy, he did it, and then it was like, nah, you screwed yourself over for the next one.
10 million points.
10 million.
10 million. And it's just like,
I think the next one at second place was only 1,000 or something.
Something ridiculous.
It was like it jumped.
Yeah, and it's like, oh, all they have to do is take out the first place dude, and they win. That's it.
Exactly. So everyone gets in the teams. At first, I was thinking who's gonna go with Midoriya? Is he just not gonna be on a team here? He's gonna be
because he asked Ida.
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh damn.
Well, Ida it's very respectful, but Ida says no, but not because he hates him or anything like a Bakugo move. It's more just out of I want to be number one, you want to be number one. We're in a competition.
It's I have to be able to challenge you too.
Exactly. Yeah. It's very respectful. I had a lot of respect for Ida for that. It was okay, you're not an ass for it. I get you. But his team ends up forming. He is with Ochiko, which is of course he is.
Of course, and then they get Hatsume
and Tokuyami. And Tokuyami is among the characters in Class 1A that we haven't really seen too much of. We've seen them. Obviously, we've seen some of these characters. But one of the things that I like about this arc in particular is that we get to see certain characters really, using their powers. And Tokuyami is a really good example of it. Because, I think we mentioned him in the other podcast. We really didn't really go into his stuff. I think we just referred to him as the bird-looking guy. I don't think we really got his name.
No, they didn't. They probably did mention his name,
but
they didn't do anything really with his quirk
to really show him. But then we get this where it's we end up seeing his quirk really well. It's Dark Shadow. Mm-hmm. Basically, just brings to life his little shadow demon thing that he can control. But it doesn't work too well in daylight.
It doesn't. The more light there is, actually, the weaker it is.
Which I thought was kind of interesting, because it's you're in a giant tournament, and the middle of the day, it's you would be kind of just at a disadvantage.
Oh, they also got Mei
Hatsune. That's her first name.
Yes. Sorry, I'm just who was on his entire team? Because it was Midoriya, Ochiko, Tokuyami, and Hatsume.
Yeah, it's because it's teams of 4, so...
Yeah. Exactly. And that's right, her quirk is Zoom. That's right, she has the fucking...
Zoom.
Zoom. She can make video calls immediately.
Exactly. Which is interesting, because, it's her eyes, right? That's what it was.
Her eyes themselves can zoom in.
Which means that her ability to make these gadgets and whatnot is really just her. That's the kind of crazy part, is that she's just fucking talented.
Exactly, because I was whoa, is this part of her quirk? She's,
and I thought so too.
Is creative, or she's a really good engineer, or something like that. It's no, honestly, her quirk has nothing to do with what she does.
Yeah.
And it's that's fascinating.
It's fascinating because it's like that's just really cool. Like her entire character, it doesn't revolve around her quirk. Like it's really neat. Like
Nope. In fact, the only time we've seen her quirk is when she was looking up in the stands
trying to see like investors and like sponsors and whatnot.
It's like that's it.
I don't know. I just think that was really cool that it's like, oh, so her making her stuff isn't her quirk. Like it, you know, like she's not like Yaoyorozu where she can just make stuff out of nowhere. Like no, she just does that. Like that's her thing.
No, and it's actually really good.
It's really cool and really respectable.
Right.
So yeah, so that's their team. Some of the other teams, I don't remember all of them. Like I don't remember who was on all of them.
I love Bakugo's team because Bakugo's just yelling.
Bakugo is just mad. Wasn't it? It was Bakugo. Wasn't it Kirishima as well?
It was Bakugo, Kirishima, Ashido, and Sero.
That's right. Oh my god, that's right. Ashido was on there.
He's just like yelling at them to go this way, do that. I'll kill you.
I'll kill you.
I'll kill all of you.
Oh my god.
He's so mad.
He's always mad.
It was really fucking funny. And then like a couple of the other ones, like Todoroki, Ida, Yaoyorozu, and Kaminari.
Which that's a pretty good team right there. Like you got all the smart kids on that one.
Yep. So you got Ida
and Kaminari.
Yeah, because
Kaminari's not a bad character, but he's not like he's like here, and then you have the three smartest people in the class.
That's why they're just like, oh, your quirk is good, but you yourself are like not too bright.
Yeah. Although I do love Kaminari. I don't know.
Oh no, I think he's great.
Every time I see him, it's like, oh, you're a cool guy.
He's
like
fucking goofy when he overcharges himself.
He becomes a potato.
It's so fucking great.
But it's like, oh, he's cool. I like his costume. I think his. I've never really said this, but like one of his costume is like among my favorites, just because it's like it's so like simple, but it's like really cool.
But no, their team was great because you had Momo with her creation of weapons.
You had Tenya, who Ida, or just like fast, which is perfect
the
for
speed.
this.
They used Kaminari because their team immediately decided we're going after Midoriya.
Mm-hmm.
We want that points. So they figured out that Kaminari's ability could keep the dark shadow like fucking away because of the light.
Yeah.
And so it was a perfect team up because
it really was.
Todoroki didn't even have to use his powers really because Momo's weapons being created just there.
And then not to mention like those guys are, Todoroki in general is very like communicative, like, able to like speak plans.
Keeps his head cool.
Yeah. It's just, it was kind of cool that it was like the three of them all like talking, even and Kaminari as well. Like, but it's just like that's a good team up. The more you think about it.
Mm-hmm. Then we had the fucking. Oh my god. What's his name? Oh my gosh, Shinzo's team.
I forget Shinzo's team.
It was Shinzo.
Oh no! Was Ojiro on that one?
Yeah.
Okay, Ojiro. I remember.
It was Ojiro, Shinzo, Aoyama.
Oh yeah, Aoyama.
It's just like, but man, Shinzo was so determined, even though his team wasn't great.
Yeah.
But that's right. It was Mineta, Shoji, and Su.
Interesting team up.
Their team up was fucking cool though. I didn't see that shit coming.
Yeah.
With fucking what's his name? Shoji basically running, and he does like his arms are on his back, like shielding them.
Shoji's another one that we really didn't see too much of in the first season, but then he comes out and it's like, has this kid been here the whole time? Like, hot damn.
Like, oh, he's so crazy looking. It's awesome.
He is. You wonder, like, was he born like this? Did he just, like, did he grow into it?
He's got, like, fucking bat hand wings and
he
stuff.
does, and he can grow limbs and whatnot.
Out of any...
Yeah.
But it was cool because he was using that to actually shield Sue and Mineta. And... Mineta's just throwing his little balls out.
Yeah.
And it's just sticking to everybody and it's fucking everything up.
See, that's when, like, Mineta, it's like, okay, he proves he can be good at times when he does
He's an
stuff
excellent
like
support here.
Yeah. I think that's what he is. I think he's a good support hero.
And then you had Sue with her tongue that just whipping out at everything.
Legit.
But no one being able to actually go at them because of his little hand coverings.
Exactly.
And I was like, that's actually such an unexpected turn for that team. Because I am like, how is Mineta gonna compete against everybody else's team?
Yeah.
But no, they did excellent. I was super. I mean, they didn't win, but
There's still
it was fucking
the
rad.
combination of powers.
The cool moment though was when Todoroki took fucking the headband off of Midoriya.
Yeah.
And Tenya was like, no, I have an ability that I can use, but I can only use it like once because then my legs stall. And then he's like, okay. And then it was the reciproco.
Was it where they went really fast? It was like he like boosts the engines.
Oh yeah, when he pumps out that fucking blue fire.
Yeah.
And it's like lightning fast. It is so fucking quick. Like Midoriya in that moment was like, "Oh, we're gonna win. We got this." And then Tenya does that, and it's like, vroom. And
He really is the Flash in the making of the show. It's so neat.
yeah, like the second he can figure out how to keep those things from stalling, he's
good.
He's fucking great.
Later on, he graduates from the school and he's just like working on his legs and he's like, I won't ever stall again.
Never gonna stall ever again.
What if he went like electric? Like it's not like gas powered, it's like full on like just electric.
Good for the environment.
It's good for the environment and efficient.
Wow.
Wow.
Stupid. Oh man. But for real, that speed was insane.
Yeah.
I was like, yo, wait, he can go faster? And Midoriya and everyone was caught the fuck off guard.
See,
like, even Todoroki didn't know it was going to be that fast.
See, he's the one whose quirk should have been zoom.
Zoom, zoom. Zoom, zoom.
It really is.
And then they were like, shit, he took the fucking headband. How do we get it back?
Yeah.
And for the rest of that battle, it was them trying to figure out how the fuck to get it from.
It really was those two teams really going after each other. Like Bakugo's as well, but like it really was like the Todoroki team and the Midoriya team.
And then who's the? I know Momo.
Momo, the little shit.
Monoma. He was just going around collecting other headbands.
Yeah.
He was just trying to stockpile points.
I think he got Bakugo's team, and that's where Bakugo's like, change the plans, fucking kill him.
He did. He was so mad. He is actually like, kill him.
See, I wouldn't have been mad if he did.
See, I wouldn't have stopped him.
That's the thing. It's like if it were Midoriya, yes, I would have stopped Bakugo. But Monoma, it's like, have at it.
Get him.
Go get him, boy.
Go get him. And so that's happening, and literally, they try to figure out a tactic to get the headband back, and they go, and Midoriya snatches one of the headbands off, and it's like, cool, we fucking got it. And turns out they didn't.
They got one of the other ones.
They got like one of the lowest
they got like
point value
instead of
ones.
like 10 million, it was like 100. It's like,
Yep.
oh.
And you find out that on Todoroki's team, Ashita was like, good thing we rearranged the headbands.
Yeah.
Because otherwise they probably would have grabbed the right one.
Do you mean Yaoyorozu?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, you're good.
I was
It's
like,
okay.
Ashita's on fucking Bakugo's
It's
team.
okay. You're still learning. It's okay.
It's a lot of good names.
There's a lot of names. Everyone has like 3 names. It's
I
okay.
know. I love it though. I love it. I know most of their names from this season, and I'm pretty proud of that.
Yeah.
Because season 1, I'm like, who? Who? The end of season 2, I'm like, I can actually pick out the people and know what they do and what all these things. It's
Pretty
great.
much.
It's great. But then, so they were gonna lose. They were gonna lose completely. Would have been last place, kicked out of the.
Yeah, because
they
like
would've been out of the tournament.
the bell rings and it's like, all right, it's up, and they're like, well, shit.
Right, but then it's like, oh, just kidding. Tokuyami's like, yo, I fucking snatched one on our way out.
No, legit. Tokuyami came in clutch and actually snagged them like the 4th place, like made it into the next round.
Yep, and that's because of that.
It's like Tokuyami.
And he's like, thanks. I mean, they're like, "Oh my god, Tokuyami, that's awesome."
Well, like Midoriya starts crying. It's like that's amazing.
And Tokuyami's like, "Well, I mean, you're the one that picked me. Like, don't like, it's fine. Like, you chose this.
Your fate was
And
decided."
I'm like, I don't know if this is humble. I don't.
Yeah.
Or it's just like, you wanted me.
It's like, oh, all right.
It's like, man, you're the good boy.
He's a
great Tokuyami. You're fucking rad.
He was a good boy. 10 bags of bird seed for him.
10 bags of bird seed for him.
He probably eats real food. He probably doesn't eat bird seed.
He probably eats regular food. Yeah.
So then, at that point, that's when we get into the real good part, which is the combat. The big tournament.
They announced that. Guess what, guys? 1v1, and everyone's like, what?
Yes, it goes into a 1v1 like tournament. This is like my favorite part of this arc, is just like having these like matchups and having these like, you know, paired up fights and seeing like who goes up against who, and like, you know, whose powers are gonna have to like go up against who. So it gets really interesting. The first one being Midoriya and Shinzo.
Mm-hmm. Oh god.
And that alone was a really... Well, it was interesting because Ojiro, like, pulled Midoriya to the side. I was like, hey, you need to know something about his power. Like, if you answer a question of his, that's how he gets you.
Yeah, because, what is it? Because we saw it.
Well...
We saw there was a moment. I'm trying to remember the moment.
I think there was a moment. I know that it flashed back to it when Ojiro was talking to him.
Yeah, because Ojiro was talking with him, and we're like, wait, what happened? What's going on?
Yeah.
And then doesn't really talk about it. And then going into this, Ojiro's trying to warn him about, like, no, this guy's quirk is like, you know, watch out. And then it does flash back to Ojiro basically saying, so if you respond to anything he says, that's how his quirk is activated.
Yeah.
And it's because we see Midoriya just like freeze.
Well, no, that's the thing, is like he fucking gets up there and then Shinzo starts like shit talking to Ojiro, and then sure enough fucking Midoriya is like, take it back. It's like, you dumbass, you just were told how this quirk works.
Yeah, I was like, dude, you know he's just egging you on.
Midoriya, you dumbass.
Right? And it's like, god damn it. And Ojiro is in the stands like, I fucking warned him.
I know, poor Ojiro. It's like he literally said it.
It's like, I said not to do this. And Shinzo is just like,
he's like, go walk off the stage.
You turn around and walk out of bounds.
Which, like, oh my god, his power. It's like, that's...
I was like, oh my god.
That's really neat, though.
That's
it's
insane.
Like, what a power.
That's a power you wouldn't even know that they had.
Exactly.
Like, you could just have a casual conversation and boom, his power is on you and you don't even know.
Or, like, literally, it could be like a villain situation. All he has to do is, like, ask someone, the villain just has to say a word and he wins.
Yep. It's
amazing. A good quirk. Like, that's really cool.
It's a fucking amazing quirk.
So then
and so Midoriya is walking off the stage slowly.
Yeah.
And in the moment we're like, oh my god, how the fuck is this gonna
And Midoriya's like, I can't move, I can't do anything. It's like, uh-oh.
So it is interesting that he's conscious.
Yeah.
That he's aware, but he just can't actually do anything.
Mm-hmm.
And then Shinzo is just spilling his fucking heart to Midoriya of like, oh, you guys in class 1A, you were lucky.
Yeah.
You know, you guys were picked. You guys were chosen because your quirks were useful.
Well, and that's where we learned that... And that's where you learned that Shinzo wasn't such a bad little kid after all. That this poor kid has been, like, ever since he's gotten his power, everyone's like, oh, you could be such a cool villain. Like, oh, you're going to be such a badass villain. And he's like, I want to be a hero.
But they're just like, oh, that's such a villain quirk, though. That's not a hero quirk.
Yeah.
But he's just like, but I'm not, I want to be a good guy.
And then the poor kid, the entry test is stupid because he can't fight. Like, he can't just like they can't turn the robots on themselves. He can't.
Yeah, like the quirk, his quirk wouldn't work.
His quirk wouldn't work.
Which, oh, that reminded me. This entire arc, I thought it was really fucking great that Aizawa is just wrapped up the entire time.
Oh, from the previous
And he's just in the stand and
as grumpy as usual.
yeah, and the announcer is just calling him fucking Mummy Man the whole time.
Yeah, that was really funny.
It's great. But yeah, Aizawa is just like seeing his quirk and he's just, he's narrating.
Yeah.
Just saying like, yeah, it makes sense. He wouldn't have gotten any points in the entry exam.
No.
Because
so
his quirk wouldn't have worked.
So he went into not even like 1B or anything. He went to like general studies. Mm-hmm. The most boring thing. It's like this kid has such a crazy quirk, but it's like, no, he just general studies for you. Go to English class, have fun. Like what?
Yep, and Aizawa was just like, he's got such a good quirk, but yeah, the tests just wouldn't have worked.
It's like you feel bad for him, and then
because it's like such a technicality.
Yeah.
Because it's like it's not really testing your quirk as much as it's just testing your ability to fucking
fight in your combat and like quick dexterity check. It's like it's not. I don't know. It was just really interesting, and then what ends up happening, like. Midoriya actually ends up breaking out of Shinzo's hold.
Which was fucking hype. And I was wondering the whole time it's happening, I'm like... Because, like, Ojiro said, I got bumped, and that was enough of a shock to, like, take me out of it.
Yeah.
But he's like, I don't know what kind of shock you would need. I don't know if just bumping would be enough to, like, wake you up, or if that's, like, common, because we don't know enough. And I'm wondering, like, if he could trigger the fucking... One for all, that would probably be enough of a shock to like break, but that would fucking hurt.
Yeah.
And I'm like, could he do it subconsciously? And I'm just like thinking that. And he's walking off the stage, and then he has like a vision, which is interesting. Midoriya has the vision in the doorway of like all the different like eyes and the silhouettes, and he actually recognizes one as All Might. And it's like, wait, what the fuck? And then his fingers trigger fucking One for All.
Yeah, and it actually like snaps him out of it.
It was cool because it was just wind. It was just shook the whole stage and everything. Just seconds before he steps out of bounds. And Shinzo's like, wait, what?
And even Midoriya's like, huh?
And Midoriya's like, oh my god, I fucking did it. And then Midoriya actually now pays attention and doesn't respond to Shinzo.
Yeah.
And Shinzo is just saying all that stuff about like, it's not fair. You guys are special. I can't. I'm like this. I'm told.
And he's all mad, and then
and he's like sad. Midoriya is just like he wants to be supportive for Shinzo, but he knows if he says anything, he's gonna get fucking got again. So he just runs at Shinzo.
He really, and it's funny because it's just such a very like not quirk filled like fight. He just kind of like not tackles him, but he starts like pushing him, and even like Shinzo like throws a punch at him. Like it felt like real. It was like a real like genuine punch, and then Midoriya just like yeet.
It was such a wholesome scene because I'm like, Midoriya doesn't want to actually fight him because he understands him.
Yeah,
and he's like, I wouldn't feel good actually fighting this dude right now.
Yeah,
like that's fucked up. So he just wants to like push him off and be like,
yeah, and he does.
It was great, and Shinzo was just like, bah.
But it's funny because like, yeah, Midoriya won, but everyone loved Shinzo. Like everyone was saying like,
oh, that was the
most wholesome thing. Like everyone was like, why the fuck is this kid not in the hero class? Like someone screwed up here. Like this kid should be there. Like,
oh yeah.
And people were saying is like, this is why the entry exam is flawed. Like we don't actually like these kids fall through the cracks. Like someone's got to move them up. So although Midoriya won, Shinzo honestly won like everyone's like respect. So even like the teachers were like, hey, like.
Oh yeah, tons of the pro heroes in the stands were like, yo, I would love a sidekick like that. Like,
yeah.
This guy that is such a useful quirk to have as a hero.
And it is.
And it's just like everyone in the crowd was saying all the things that, nobody said to Shinzo at any point.
Seriously. And like even like when he was going, all his classmates were like cheering him on. And it was just like, oh, this is wholesome. Like this poor kid. Like so I really, because of that, I really like Shinzo as a character, and I really really look forward to hopefully seeing him again soon. Like he's a really interesting character that I think should be utilized again.
Yeah, he has such good potential as like a character and a hero.
Like he just his quirk alone, but then also just as a character, it's like he's a really neat guy. Like I would love to see him, you know, if he were to join the hero class. Like I would love to see it. He's a really cool guy.
He is. He just kind of got shafted by the system.
Yeah, exactly. But everyone was able to recognize that,
And that was the greatest victory of all.
Exactly. See, he didn't win the tournament, but he won the overall picture here.
He did, and he deserved it because it's like he was trying. He was doing his best. He just
and for a minute, honestly, like he almost won. If it weren't for just the fucking nature of One for All, you know, if it was just the nature of it, it's like he probably would have won.
Yeah, and it's like that ability as a hero is fucking crazy.
He probably could have won the tournament with it. Could you imagine like him up against like Todoroki and this he wins?
Literally, yeah.
Todoroki says the thing, he wins Bakugo. That'd be the easiest to win. He just says
I think Bakugo would have an aneurysm if he found out he lost just by being told to leave.
But legit, all he would have to do is say something to Bakugo. You know Bakugo would have responded.
All he'd have to do is be like, loser.
Loser.
And Bakugo would be like, I'll kill you. Done.
Like, literally, this guy could have legit just swept up the entire tournament.
Oh, yeah, everyone could have lost just because this dude just says something.
Yeah. It's so funny.
It's insane.
It's really funny.
It's insane. It's so crazy. It's so cool, though. And it's like, him stopping villains out in the world would be so...
Fucking Shigaraki's always running his mouth off. He never shuts up. Like, he literally could take Shigaraki out.
Shigaraki, when we talk about it, Stain.
Yeah.
Could just literally shut all of these guys down.
What is your motivation? And then Stain gives things like, alright, you done?
Why are you here? It's just like, wow.
The entire League of Villains is just done.
Fucking Shinzo is like the secret weapon of the academy that does like they're saving for a later season.
I mean, like legit, I could see it. I'm sure there's more, like there's limits to his power and whatnot, but it's just like just from looking at it, it's like you could do so much with that.
It's such an unexpected, cool little quirk. But then we get into the meaty boy.
Yes.
Because we see the fiery papa walking around.
Yes, this is where we first really meet number 2 pro hero Endeavor.
Yep, and my god, is he an actual ass.
Oh, he is. I think they mentioned him probably in season 1 as being Todoroki's dad, but this is where we see him. And you take a good look at him and just like the first couple interactions he has with people, and it's like, you're a cool guy, aren't you?
It's like, man, your ego is literally on fire.
Like legit.
And you can feel Todoroki's resentment, the fact that he's even there.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, oh, why does he hate him so much?
No, for real. I forget, is this where he talked to Midoriya, or was that after his battle?
No, he talked to Midoriya in like the hallway.
Was it before Todoroki's own battle? Or was it after? Because Todoroki has a match. I think it might have been after the one with Midoriya and Shinzo. He was paired up with Sero. The tape quirk guy.
No, so it was after.
Was it after that one?
It was after, because before his match with Sero, he ran into Endeavor.
Yeah, he ran into Endeavor.
Endeavor was basically just being like, "Oh, you remember what you're here for. You're here because I made you, and you're here to win the tournament and surpass All Might and be the best." Yeah. And it's like, that's your purpose. What a little, like, he's like Russian, like, sleeper agent. Like, what is this? And it's just like, and Todoroki's just like mad. He's just mad. Like, he's been quiet, like, through the show so far, but this is where it's like, you can tell he's not happy. No, and then so when he goes into the fight with Sero, Sarah's like, yeah, man, I'm fucking ready.
I like Sero. He seems like a really happy kid. Like he seems.
And he is. He's a good dude.
And then like they're like 3, 2, 1, burn, and then the fucking Todoroki just instantly like just freezes Sero and like half the fucking stadium.
It was incredible. The ice just goes like above the stadium completely.
Legit.
And Sarah was like fucking scared.
And they're like, all right, Todoroki wins.
Everyone's like, huh?
And then he's like, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. I was mad. And it's just like, Jesus Christ, Todoroki. Like,
just like, that's a scary anger.
This is really scary. And it was just like to fucking tell off his papa that because the entire time we've only seen him use his ice powers really, so like he's like not using, he's holding it back his fire power, and it's like,
and that's the thing he brings up in the discussion with Endeavor's basically telling him, when
are you gonna stop being childish and use your fire powers?
If you used your left side, you would win this easily without any competition.
Yeah.
And Todoroki's like, no, I'm never going to use that. Yeah. I'm never going to use your power. I hate you.
I hate you. But no, it's insane. I mean, like, even without the fire, like, Todoroki's a fucking powerful ass guy. Like,
yeah.
It's scary.
He's
sometimes.
Like a single-handed Ice Age.
Basically.
Literally one-handed, and he uses it out of his right hand.
Yeah, so poor Sarah doesn't make it.
No, that dude didn't stand a chance.
Sarah probably could have had, like, a chance if Todoroki wasn't mad. Like, he probably could have, like, restrained him or something. It's like, you kind of feel bad.
I do. But, it's the way it goes in the tournament.
Pretty much.
But the next match is definitely curious. And I don't think it goes directly to... It doesn't go to Todoroki's next fight.
Well, no, so you have to go through the rest of like these like quarterfinals, and then the big ones, which are like the final four.
Mm-hmm. Which I'm trying to,
or the semifinals, or whatever it ends up being.
Because who's the pair ups we get in this tournament?
There's a bunch of pair ups. There's a point where it kind of montages through some of them, so we don't get to see all of them. Like, you had, like, Yaoyorozu and Tokuyami that fought. You had Ida and the one girl from Class 1B that was, like, all nature and, like, foresty and whatnot.
Oh, yeah. So, that's right, yeah. So, Tokuyami fights Momo.
Yes.
And I was very interested, because this is, like, an interesting pair up, because Momo's creation ability, it's like in a fight you'd think that's amazing, like she has literally infinite potential, and Tokuyami's just like, okay, we'll fight, sure.
Yeah.
He, without much effort, wipes the floor in his fight.
He really does. And
poor fucking Momo, she's just like, she creates a shield to like protect herself while she was advancing on him, but she didn't expect him to be so strong and aggressive, and just like pushes her off the stage.
Yeah.
He doesn't even step anywhere. He just stands still, and she loses like within seconds.
Yeah. And
she's crushed.
Like, honestly, it's funny because it goes by quick enough that you don't even quite realize just how like upset and crushed she ends up being. But it does like echo beyond this, and it's like, oh, it's actually kind of sad. Like, dang, because it's not a bad quirk or anything. She's a good student. She has a really good quirk. It's just like, like she kind of just got her butt kicked in this one.
Oh, it sucks. Then Ida fights that like crazy vine hair lady.
Yeah, that like nature girl, and he ends up just like pushing her off the stage too, just really fucking fast.
Yeah.
You had Kirishima and Tetsu
against each other.
That was funny.
That shit cracked me. I'm like, did they pair them up on purpose?
Someone was like, heh.
And they're both just like mad. They're like, what does it mean we're the same thing? And they're fucking just hating each other like.
It's really funny.
It's just like Thor and Hulk.
It basically is.
Just like neither of them are really just like actually beating from it. Though, gotta say, Kirishima did start to fuck him up more.
Yeah.
Which was interesting because Tetsu literally says, like, oh, he didn't eat enough iron today, so his powers aren't really as good. And I'm like, that's a curious way to, like, charge his ability.
Eating iron.
Yeah. And it's like, so is Kirishima's just, like, more of a stamina based? Maybe? But then they're just, like, wailing on each other and they knock each other out.
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh, it's a tie.
Even everyone is like, this is a dumb fight.
Because they're fighting. And they're like, oh, so they broke in a tie. So we're going to have to decide this later in an extra competition, like an arm wrestling match.
Yeah, they did an arm wrestling and it was the same fucking thing. It's like, do rock, paper, scissors.
It was so goofy. It's like an arm wrestle. Like, they were just fist fighting and it's like, nah, arm wrestle. It's just so funny.
Oh my god.
So their moment happens and passes.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember the belly button laser boy. Aoyama.
His name I have just recently finally started to remember.
Aoyama. He doesn't do real great in the tournament.
He's up against Mina.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Which is funny, because, like, yeah, he's got the belly button laser, but then she just kind of, like acid. And it's like, oof.
It is oof, because she acid his fucking
belly button thing.
And just totally took him out of commission.
It's like, oh.
Because she's like, oh, if he can shoot lasers. And he was doing it. And we see her, like, skating around and avoiding his shots.
Yeah.
But she's like, she remembers, oh, if he shoots too long, he gets a stomachache.
Mm-hmm.
And so she's just like, I just gotta wait for him to do that. And then he does it, of course. And he's like, ah. And she's like, now's my time.
My time to shine.
And then takes him down, and he's like, oh.
Poor.
Poor. And then
out of the montage ones, I don't.
That's really.
I'm having a hard time remembering some of those. There may have been a couple other like Class 1B ones, but
there was a couple. Like, who did Bakugo go against?
Well, that's the next like big one. That's why I was trying to remember like the little ones.
Okay. Yeah.
Because
I think that basically
yeah, there's like little ones. Because then so we get Bakugo versus Ochiko. Yeah. And I'm not gonna lie, when I was first watching the show, I remember like pulling this up, and I remember the second that they announced that matchup, I was dreading it. I was like, oh no, like don't do this, to Ochiko.
Because I was like, that is not to like doubt her. I was just like, her power and Bakugo's murderous tendency.
Well, that was the thing. It's like, I dreaded it because it was like, it's not anything against Ochiko. It's Bakugo's inability to like hold back or like have any sort of sensibility of anything. It's like he's a little rage monster, and Ochiko's sweet and wholesome. It's like, no, like I legitimately was like, oh god, well, please don't.
And I'm just like, it is a tournament, so I don't really want either of them to hold back, and they wouldn't. They wouldn't want themselves to hold back.
Exactly.
But it's still like Bakugo. I feel like would be. My initial reaction was like, he could go accidentally too far.
Yeah,
that's what I'm thinking. And of course, like, the teachers are on standby. It's like, oh, we'll step in if it gets too crazy.
Yeah,
I'm like, you're not fast enough to combat fucking Bakugo's crazy.
Seriously, you saw how much he like fucked up Midoriya in the hero villain exercise. It's just like in a legit like fighting tournament. It's like,
Yep. And it's like he didn't have his outfit with the fucking
the gauntlets.
Yeah, which would have been like, that would have been a bit much.
I would have been uncomfortable.
But
so
Ochiko
that
goes in there and she's like,
that fight happens, and like Ochiko actually does a really good job at holding herself on her own.
I mean, she got hit a lot.
She got hit a lot, but it's the fact that she did hold out for so long. Like, she was actually like quick on her feet. Like, She does a really good job, and it's like, oh, she is doing really good. Like,
she's doing so well.
But then you
she was doing kick ass.
But then you also know that, oh, this is Bakugo. Oh.
Yeah, it's like what Bakugo's doing really isn't a lot of effort on his end.
Yeah.
He's just doing like his typical hand blasts. He's not like exerting.
But he's also really quick and really like fast is the thing. So it's like not only is he like dangerous like power wise, but it's just he is really fast and quick, moving and whatnot. It's like he's dangerous.
He is.
He's really good, but also really dangerous.
He's so fucking quick, and he is throwing everything at Ochako.
Yeah,
and Ochiko's taking it, and she's really just keeping up, which I was impressed to see. She's like, she's going at it. She's tough.
No, she is tough. She's a lot tougher than I would have expected in like season 1. You see this like sweet little girl, like she's almost like a Girl Scout, and like, but then here she is like taking Bakugo
fighting
on.
grenade hands.
Yeah,
it's like, oh my god.
Like
then the whole time it was really cool. She actually had a strategy. She wasn't just dodging and taking hits, and Bakugo didn't know the strategy was happening.
No, and so basically, as it turns out, like all the rocks and rubble from the stage that were being wrecked because of Bakugo's hits, Ochako was levitating. So then they look up and there's just a giant like just field of like rubble and stage and whatnot, and then she just brings it all down like a meteor shower.
Yep, and it's like, oh shit.
Like that was a good strategy.
That was a fucking awesome strategy.
I was impressed.
Because even Bakugo's like, wait, what? And he looks up, he's like, oh, okay. You think you're fucking smart.
Well, because and then he ends up actually like using a lot of power to destroy them. And
whatnot. He pushed it and he blew all of the rubble up that was above him,
which was it was such a good strategy, just on the not right person for it.
I felt so bad because I'm like, oh.
I felt bad because I was like, wow, that's actually really smart. Like, wow.
And Baku was just like, delete. And then the whole time the crowd is just berating Bakugo.
Oh yeah, like this crowd of all, like pro heroes and whatnot. They start booing him and like.
Yeah, and he's like, fucking fuck you guys. Because Bakugo's being booed, and they're saying like, oh, why are you toying with this poor girl? She's so frail, and you're just like not holding back. It's like, what are you doing? And he's just like, fuck.
Well, no, and then freaking Aizawa comes up, and he calls out all these people. And, like he's like, you have some nerve calling yourself pro heroes and whatnot, and like. Basically says it's like this is a tournament. These kids have to give it their all. He's giving it his all. It is not a one-sided fight here.
Yeah, like Ochiko's really going at it, and Bakugo's really trying too.
Yeah, it's like, and that's the thing. It's like it. I mean, he has a point. It's like this isn't like it. The more you look at it, it's like no, this isn't one-sided. Like at first you think it's going to be, but it's like.
Yeah, because she's running around. She's using her ability. She's actively doing a strategy.
Yeah.
It's not like she's just standing there and Bakugo's just like beating her down.
Yeah.
But Bakugo's being smart about his attacks. He's not just like, I'm just gonna randomly blow everything the fuck up. He's being just as tactical.
Yeah.
It's just he has a very narrow vision, so he didn't see anything she was actually trying to do.
Mm-hmm.
But of course, unfortunately, at the end, he was just too strong.
Yep, she. It's funny because like it almost looks like she's gonna keep going, like she's gonna get back up, and then it's just too much.
Mm-hmm. And Bakugo just kind of like lets her just fucking collapse.
Yeah,
like he doesn't try to like fucking
kick her while she's down or anything like that.
Yeah, he's just like, nah, I won.
Yeah,
which was like. He's not that crazy.
I was like, at least that it's like, all right, good on you. Like I'm glad you don't have the tendency to just kick people while they're down. Like
yeah, like some people we know in this show Like Shigaraki.
Oh yeah, no. If Shigaraki was here, yeah, he would have like. Well, first of all, he would have disintegrated a person and then stomp on their ashes and laugh about it. Watch me, master. I'm a good boy.
I'm a good boy, Dad. Look at me doing the thing.
Look at me, father.
It's 6 p.m. and
it's 6 p.m. and Dad hasn't come home from getting cigarettes yet.
no.
Uh-oh.
It's been 25 years. I'm sure he's coming. I know those lines are long.
But yeah, so that's that fight.
Yes, but next we get the fucking...
I was going to say, the one thing that it does end with, not the fight itself, but we do get a... after the fight, Ochiko, she's like in like the locker room, she's like healing and whatnot, and she calls up her parents who, you know, her whole motivation is she wants to be this big, like, you know, pro hero so that she can like support her family or make money and, you know, take them somewhere like for a vacation or like support them because her dad is like a construction worker or something like that.
Yeah, and she wants her parents to take it easy because they work so hard all the time.
I know, and it's so fucking wholesome. But yeah, she calls them and she's like, I didn't do it, I'm sorry. And her parents are like so proud of her, and it's like,
they're just like, what do you mean? You did great.
It's like just thinking about it, it's like that's so like I get a little teary eyed just because it's like that's so like just like man, that's so like it's the worst feeling in the world when you feel like you've disappointed your parents, but then they're like actually like proud of you and what it's like no.
No, and I mean like at the beginning, episode 14, when Ochiko talks about her whole motivation, her parents are like, no, like, we appreciate that you want to help us, but like we want you to have your dream.
Exactly.
And she's like, but I want to help you. And
exactly.
So when she loses the tournament here and her parents are like, you did a great job, and she's like, but I can't help you. They're like, that's okay. Like, we don't expect that. We want you to be happy. And it's just like, your whole fucking family is so damn wholesome.
Seriously, like, they're wholesome, you're wholesome, like,
you're wholesome,
you're breathtaking. it's so much. But it's so like her character. Of course, this is her. Like, this is her family and her character. It's like, it just makes sense. So, anyways, I wanted to bring that up before we got into.
No, yeah, because she was. Because Midoriya came in to check on her and everything, and she's just like, I lost. Oh well, haha.
Oh no, she was like, I'm great, and it's like, no, you're not. Like,
he knows she's not, and she's just like, I'm doing fine.
Yeah, it's like, no, honey, no.
You know, she's just like fucking broken because she feel like she's failed everyone.
Yeah.
And it's like, you didn't. You did good, kid.
No.
Go get your day.
Yeah, seriously, you and Shinzo, you go over to the best kids club.
But then we turn the heat back on and bring it less wholesome and more fucking fire.
Oh yeah, no, it's
with wholesome.
No, so we get to like this is like the second round. This is like the big like semifinals like matches. And we get the big one. we get freaking Midoriya versus Todoroki. And this is like WWE, like Friday Night Rumble. Like this is
you buy tickets to this one.
This is the big one. We didn't get into it, but by this point, we didn't talk about it. But Todoroki and Midoriya had their little conversation, and we learned of Todoroki's past, which I want to hear your thoughts about. There's a lot of, we're gonna get into the Todoroki thing, but I want to hear your thoughts about his like origin.
His whole origin was so fucking sad.
So
this poor boy,
him basically being this like part of Endeavor's stupid fucking like plan to make the perfect quirk child, and like basically Todoroki is that child, and Endeavor pushing him to his limit, Endeavor also being an abusive husband and also just probably abusive to the other kids.
He's just like a piece of shit all around.
He is a piece of shit. And then Todoroki's mom just fucking losing it, like losing her mind, and giving him his scar, his signature ice scar.
Yeah.
With like what she like threw boiling water on his face, something, because his eyes it looked like his father.
Well, it was the whole left side of him.
Is the red hair and whatnot.
yeah, he was like, she says it, and they bring it up a bunch of times.
Yeah.
Because he reminisces constantly.
Well, this arc, yeah.
Because he just hears his mother saying, like, oh, his left side is so unsightly.
Yeah.
I can't stand looking at it.
Yeah.
I don't want to raise him anymore. I feel like I shouldn't.
She, like, loses her mind, basically.
But he hears all of that.
Yeah.
He's just like, Mom? And she turns around and she's like, oh. And then gets the fucking kettle of water, and it's like, oh my god.
Oh no, that whole fucking backstory
that
whole backstory took such a fucking turn. It's like insane.
Oh yeah, and the fact that Todoroki tells Midoriya, he's like, oh, have you heard of quirk marriages? And it basically is just like, the only reason that he, like, Endeavor got married and had Todoroki was specifically because of their powers.
Well, and it's basically like the idea of an arranged marriage, except because of quirks and not money. And it's like,
because certain gene quirk mixing can actually enhance quirks in the kid. And so that's basically what Todoroki was. Is he's just a creation.
Well, and it's not even just Todoroki. I'm sure you saw, but he has siblings. So Todoroki's not even the only child Endeavor has with his wife. So he has siblings. That you saw it in the flashback. He wasn't allowed to play or be around his siblings because Endeavor was like beating his ass trying to train him to be like a really good hero. But there's other kids. He has siblings, so it's like he like Todoroki was like not the first attempt to just make this perfect little quirk child.
Todoroki's just the successful one.
He was the successful one, and Endeavor is gonna he's like, I'm gonna capitalize on this.
Yeah, because like Todoroki just wants to be normal and have friends, and Endeavor's just like, no, you're training. Like, I'm sick of this shit.
Yeah.
Like, no, you're doing this for my purposes.
Which is just awful to think about, because then you also think, what about the other kids? Like, were they treated the same? Or did they not even have Endeavor as a dad around? Like, it's like, the fuck? It's awful. It's a horrible fucking, like, backstory.
Yeah. And you see Todoroki's just, like, he loves, like, All Might, and he wants to be a hero and everything, and Endeavor's just, like, treating him so shitty.
Yeah.
And then his mom does that, and because she burns his left side, which is why he has that, like, red scarring.
The scar, yeah. That's where the scar comes from.
And Endeavor fucking sends her to a crazy hospital.
Like, mental ward.
And it's like, oh, that's fucking sad, too.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I mean, she maybe snapped. I mean, it's not, wouldn't say it's really her fault, because Endeavor
kind of pushed her,
burned it into her brain, and all she probably saw in Todoroki, unfortunately, and it's really sad, is that every time she looked at Todoroki, she just sees Endeavor in him.
Yeah.
And it's like, I can't.
Yeah.
And so Midoriya is just like listening to Todoroki tell him all this. He's just like, yeah, so that's me. And
Midoriya's like, oh, sir, this is a Wendy's.
But
no, Midoriya feels fucking awful about it, and Midoriya in turn also is like not fond of Endeavor now. It's like,
he fucking hates Endeavor now, and but he's trying to be supportive of Todoroki, saying like, that's your dad, but it's like the power is yours. It's like it's in you. It's not his power.
Yeah.
He's like, you shouldn't not use it because of that. It's, why are you trying to go to be a hero with only half of your actual power, like half of your potential? Like, why are you doing that?
Exactly. Well, and then that in turn then reflects onto the fight, the Midoriya and Todoroki fight, Friday Night Rumble. And this fight's intense because
it's fucking rad.
It's rad because it's Todoroki using his ice powers, what am I trying to just solely. That's what I was trying to think. I was singularly, but solely his ice powers. Midoriya is using his powers, but he's breaking himself still. So it's like he can't.
It was an interesting tactic, but it was, as you see it happening, you're like, this, he only can do this so many times.
Midoriya only has so many fingers that he can do this. But then it was funny because he then, like, used one of his broken fingers and did it again. And it just was, like, double broken.
Yeah, so,
it's like, all right, Midoriya, like, you can double break your fingers. Great. I bet you can't triple break.
So yeah, Todoroki's, like, shooting ice, like, in a path straight forward towards Midoriya.
Yeah.
And
Midoriya's, like, dodging it. Like, he's quick on his feet.
But then he decides to, like, do his flicking with One for All.
Yeah. Just really trying to reserve his body and not trying to break his entire self.
Yeah, so he's flicking, and just the force from that is shattering Todoroki's attempts.
Yeah.
But the crowd's like, ooh, look at these guys.
Yeah. The crowd's like, whoa, take a look at this.
And Midoriya's just like, ow. Ow! And he's just doing it again and again and again. And he goes through, like, his right hand, and then he does it, like, once on his left hand.
Yeah. He, like, flicks, like, from his cheek at one point.
That was cool, because he's like, I can use my thumb. And so, because he can't actually flick, he uses his inner cheek to snap it out,
and it works.
And I'm like, that's pretty fucking cool.
Yeah,
that's pretty rad.
Yeah,
but I'm like, this man's hands right now, and Todoroki's just like not breaking a sweat really.
But he's also like, I mean, it does get to a point where he's like, you know, he's not having a great time.
No, because Midoriya is noticing there's a limit to how much ice he can actually use.
I think it's like it starts really like, don't we see more and more ice on him? Like
it's like on his right arm.
Yeah, it starts because of how much he's using. It's like he's not.
It's like your body can only take so much.
Yeah,
so you can't use it forever.
Like it gets to the point where even Midoriya raises a good point that Todoroki hasn't hit him once. He hasn't left any marks. All the damage that Midoriya is taking is from his own self.
Which is also like, oof.
It's like, wow, that y'all call him out like that, but like it's true.
Yep, and the whole time Midoriya is trying to be the good dude. Is like, use all of you. Like, what do you? Yeah. Why are you trying? You say you're gonna become a professional hero, but you're not even willing to use all of who you are. Exactly. Stuff like that, and you know, Todoroki's just like being like, no, I'm not gonna do it.
Yeah.
And then that's when Midoriya starts using his already broken fingers and does it again.
Yeah.
And I'm like, ow.
Yeah.
Like fucking breaking even further beyond.
Exactly.
Then eventually breaks into Todoroki, and he knows that he has to use his fire side to warm himself up.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise the ice is going to be too much and he can't do anything.
Yeah.
And then he does. He does though.
Yeah. Well, it follows like just the moment where it becomes more and more desperation, where it's like he doesn't want to use his power. He even says, I don't want to use it. And Midoriya finally breaks it down to him that it's your quirk. And
it's yours.
Yeah.
Not your dad's.
Yeah.
And it's literally the scene that had me even pay attention to the show at any point.
Yes. So a while ago we had referenced that there was a very specific scene that you had seen out of context on YouTube.
Incredibly out of context.
And
to the point
this was the one that was like, that kind of sold you on wanting to watch it. And it was the final part of this fight scene without any of the context to it, mind you. It's like this didn't have any of the drama build up to it. It started with him activating his fire side.
Yep, it was completely we talked about it in the Jump Force video.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I just see the fight where he like winds up and then he turns on his fucking fire side, and it has that sick animation that is literally burned into my brain.
No, yeah.
And it's fucking rad.
It's
super
so good. It's so good.
It's so good. And he blows the fuck up, and it's like, oh, he won.
Well, it's crazy because Midoriya also like throws like, it's to the point where both of them are so fucking powerful that Cementos, the referee guy, he's like, oh, we can't do this shit. So he throws the two like little
No,
blocks
it's
up.
like there's 4. It's multiple.
It's like, but even then, it's like they're so powerful that they all just kind of blow up.
Not
And
because Midoriya decides, no, this is it. And
then, now this is where I'll go full power.
And he puts One For All into his leg, and he jumps forward.
Yeah.
And he's like, I gotta close the gap. I can hit him here, and then he just like fucking full power into his punch.
Yeah.
He's gonna hit Todoroki, and Todoroki's like, fire.
Yeah.
And then Cementos is like, well, this is where I gotta stop it, because everyone will die.
So this huge explosion kind of just happens, and then Midoriya ends up losing just because the sheer power of it.
The force of the explosion.
And Todoroki is still standing.
And the announcers are like, oh my god, why did it explode? And they're just like, oh, because of the amount of cold air that was in the amount of cold that was in the air being superheated all of a sudden caused the actual explosion.
Right.
And it's like, holy shit.
Yeah.
When you think about it, it's like that's also a crazy thing that Todoroki could do if he tried to
really strategize it.
Yeah, like fucking explosion.
No, like legit.
Oh, it's so good though. That shit was so fucking good.
No, and that's it is. That whole episode, it's like, well, and that was the episode that really kind of won me over into the show finally, just because of how like emotional it was. And I don't know, it was just like, it was really good. Like, it was a really good moment. It was a really good time in the show.
It was good for Todoroki's character. We learned his backstory and why it's like, damn man, all these kids got fucking issues.
Legit.
Like everyone's got something.
Well, it was funny too because like Endeavor at the end was like, yes, you finally embraced your power, like you will join me and be the best. And it's like, shut the fuck up, your ginger ass, fuck you. Get the fuck out of here.
Exactly what he was like, and Todoroki's like, no, that's not why I did that.
Yeah, get out of here.
But then Todoroki struggled to really want to ever use it. Like after that fight, he was like, I was pushed by Midoriya in that moment, but
yes,
like, I still don't want to.
Yes, that that happens in the final match. But before the final match, what was the one between? It was Bakugo, right?
No, Bakugo's match was Ochako.
I thought there was one because it was Midoriya and Todoroki, and I thought,
and it was Midoriya and Todoroki, Bakugo and Ochako. The one that happened in between was Ida and Hatsume.
Okay.
And the arm wrestling match between Kirishima and Tetsu.
Okay. I just was saying, I thought there was something that led into the final match being Bakugo and Todoroki.
Well, it's because Todoroki won.
Midoriya
won against Midoriya, and Bakugo won against Ochako. Okay. So they ended up moving up to the finals. And it would have been whoever. It would have been. It was the arm wrestling match between Kirishima and Tetsu.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, because he's our boy, Kirishima fucking won that shit.
Mm-hmm.
And he got put up against Bakugo.
Kirishima?
Mm-hmm.
Did he? I don't remember him fighting.
Kirishima got put up against Bakugo because he won the arm wrestling match. And so he got moved up. So Todoroki was up at the top. He was ready for the final.
I just don't remember.
And then it was Ida and Hatsume.
Yes.
They were going. And then Bakugo and Kirishima. And Bakugo was blowing up at Kirishima, and Kirishima was just taking it. He's like, he's got his hardening. He's like, your attacks don't do anything. And eventually Bakugo just overwhelmed him because he found out, oh, Kirishima has been spending too much time. He's spending all of his energy remaining hardening.
Yeah.
So eventually he's going to run out of energy.
Right.
And that's what happened.
Right.
Bakugo is basically just blowing up, and he wins.
Yes.
And that's when Bakugo moves on. Ida fights Hatsume, which is just like a troll of a match.
It really is.
She's like, oh, hey, I'm the support hero versus Ida. And Ida's like, yeah, but I'm gonna use this
equipment that she gave me.
And they're basically like,
it becomes like a Billy Mays like TV ad with Hatsume just kind of narrating it.
It does, because he's just like, she requested that I use this so we're at the same level, because the announcers were like, you can't really use that, it's unfair advantage or whatever.
Yeah.
And he's like, I wouldn't want to go against her wishes, so please let me use it. And it's like, probably shouldn't have used it.
Honestly.
And it was cool. It showed her tech was actually pretty crazy. Like the backpack thing he had, which kept him upright the entire time, because it would do resistance thrusting.
Mm-hmm.
So anytime he would fall, it would just push him back up.
Mm-hmm.
But he had no idea. So he was struggling to even like deal with it. And she's just literally just talking the entire time. It's like, this is my gear. This is what it does. Look at it. Wow. It's amazing. So good. But I feel like you're trying to remember there's another fight in there somewhere.
Because then because then you had Ida and Hatsume.
Mm-hmm. And Hatsume won. Or Hatsume lost. Sorry.
Hatsume stepped out of it. Then Ida had to have moved up.
Yeah.
So then did Ida fight Bakugo? I feel like Ida fought Bakugo and then had to have lost, so Bakugo would have gone to the final round. I'm sorry, I'm trying to imagine like the tournament bracket here, because they literally had the brackets and everything, and I'm like trying to remember the order of it.
Oh, wait. Was it... Because, yeah, it was Bakugo.
Okay, so Kirishima and Bakugo did fight.
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't make it up. Todoroki and Ida. That's right.
Oh, okay. So that's... Okay.
And Ida was just gonna...
that's right. I forgot about that.
Ida was just gonna yeet him.
Oh, because he froze his engines. That's what happened.
That's why he lost.
Oh my god, I completely forgot about that. Mm-hmm. So then Bakugo and Kirishima fought, and Bakugo got... Okay, it makes sense now.
I can see it on your face. You're just like, there's a missing piece.
I'm like, it's like the scene from The Hangover where Zach Galifianakis has all the math equations and everything. That's me right now trying to remember. Okay.
Right. And yeah, Todoroki had a fucking woke ass strategy in that.
Yeah.
He's just like, when he kicked him down, which was a hard kick. It was like, oh god.
Yeah.
But then Todoroki's just like, freeze engine immediately, and it's like, boom.
So he ends up doing that, and then that leads into the final battle with Todoroki and Bakugo. But yeah, going back to what you said, no, he really doesn't use the fire in either of those last two matches.
Nope, because he's still like, I used it against Midoriya, but that's just because he pushed me into it, and I fucking, I don't know, whatever. And Bakugo doesn't like it.
Well, exactly, because the entire time, it's so funny. Bakugo is like, use your power on me! Use your full power on me!
It's like, what, you think I'm not good enough? Like, you can use it, like Midoriya was good enough to use it on, but I'm not good enough?
Literally, yeah.
And it's like, I mean, it's not like that, but Bakugo doesn't fucking get it.
Exactly. Well, and then the fight goes on, and fucking Todoroki ends up losing, and Bakugo the whole time is like, no, I can't win like this. Use your power on me. Use your power.
Yeah, he's just like, because he was in... Todoroki did the whole freezing wall
thing,
and you just hear Bakugo's like literally blowing him.
That was like,
it was fucking rad. Bakugo comes out, he's like, "Fuck you, I'm gonna kill you."
Literally.
And so after that, they fight, and Todoroki like starts to use his fire side.
Yeah.
But then just stops.
Yeah.
And lets Bakugo just fucking hit him. And Bakugo's like, no, I don't want this. I'd rather lose. I don't want... This isn't a victory. Fuck this. And he's pissed.
And then it's the point where, like... Is it where, like, Midnight has... Like, Pro Hero Midnight has to, like, use her, like, power to, like, knock them out. And it's like, alright, he won.
Oh, yeah, because he's fucking pissed. And he's blowing...
He's so
fuck you guys.
fucking
and she's
mad.
just, like... She pulls her little sleeve off.
Yeah.
And just, like, Bakugo's like, I'm done.
Yeah.
It was... It was great. But during that, Ida got a phone call.
Yes, during this, Ida got a phone call, and it's funny because it's his mom, and Ida opens up, "Hey, I didn't make it. I'm sorry," and his mom's like, "Yo, what the no?
She's like, no, it's not about that.
It's not about that." So I don't know if we mentioned before, but Ida has his brother who is a pro hero, Ingenium, and that's sort of like his inspiration for wanting to become a pro hero. Is he wants to take on the Ingenium mantle,
Yeah, and that's
he wants
why
to be like
he
his
got
older brother.
That's why his outfit's kind of similar.
Yeah, so he gets the phone call. Basically, his older brother got fucked up. While on patrol, he basically got fucking to the point where he may or may not make it out, and this fucking destroys Ida, and we end up finding out that he was attacked by the up and coming hero killer, as they call him.
Was he really up and coming?
By that point,
he's already established as like.
Well, that's what I was saying. Like by that, like he was rising. That's what I mean by up and coming. Is like he's rising. Like he's already gotten a few pro heroes killed, and then like this guy, it's like he's another one. And yeah, Ida fucking like breaks, and then goes to go.
Yeah, he leaves the tournament, and
Which by this point, even he had lost. It's like at least it wasn't like he had a match to do or anything.
and he had to make a decision.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, his friend, his like idol, and his older brother.
Yeah.
Like this dude who means like everything to him in life.
Exactly.
He's like, oh, he is in the hospital and probably dying.
Yeah.
And Ida's like, oh no.
Exactly. So he ends up leaving. And then we get to like the awards ceremony. They have like the little like the Olympics, like everyone's on a stand and they get the medal, and then at the top it's fucking Bakugo held down in like a straight jacket and like
chains to a cement
it's
block.
like fucking like Hannibal Lecter over here. Like he's so fucking mad.
He's flailing. His hands are like locked together. His mouth is locked down. He's got like 7 chains chained to this stone slab.
It's
on first place.
He's
just so angry.
He's so fucking mad. And then they're like giving out the medals. It's All Might giving medals, and he gets to him.
Yeah,
and
because he goes to
I think he works his way up, doesn't he?
He goes to Tokuyami first.
Yeah.
He's like, hey, there would have been a second person on this stage, Ida, but he had to leave.
Mm-hmm.
But Tokuyami is here, and he's like, hey, man, good job.
Congratulations.
Your power is really incredible, and like, seriously, if you learn how to like use it better and work with that weakness, you could be incredible. And Tokuyami's like, thank you.
Thank you.
He's like so professional.
Yeah.
And then All Might gives him a little hug.
He's all like, oh.
Good boy. And then second place,
Todoroki.
Yep. He's like, I get it. I'm not going to ask about it, but I know. I get it. And he's like, you did good. You did good. Kid. And he hugs him and gives him the medal. And then he's like, young Bakugo.
Bakugo's fucking screaming. And he's like, what a fucking freak.
And he's just like, he's like, you know what? I can't present the award like this. So he takes the mouth guard off. And he's like, Bakugo, you did a great job. And Bakugo's like, I'll kill him. I didn't want this. I didn't deserve this victory. It's not real. It doesn't count. I fucking lost. He didn't even want to use blah, blah, blah. And All Might's like, all right, here you go.
Here you go.
And puts the medal, like, in his mouth.
Yeah.
And it's just like, there you go. And Bakugo's just, like, flailing.
It's like, God,
it's
Jesus.
It's so fucking good.
Take a chill pill.
It's so great.
Good Lord, kid.
And All Might's just like, look at these guys. And he's like, honestly, anybody could have ended up on this stage. Like, any one of these kids could have won.
Yeah.
Like, realistically.
And he's right.
Yeah, it's like, honestly, if it could have been as much as like just different pairings.
Yeah.
Or, if they had trained more, learned their abilities more, learned tactics, it's like this could have been totally different.
Mm-hmm.
But that's what's cool, is not one hero is just like, this guy is the one who's going to win everything.
Right.
Because it does kind of set the expectation. I say a lot, but it's like Todoroki. You see his power, and you're like, the speed at which he can use it, and when he used it against Was it Senyu?
Who? The tape boy?
Yeah.
Sero.
When he used it against him, and just the sheer speed of it, it's like, who competes with that?
Mm-hmm.
Like, realistically. But the way the tournament ended up going, it's like, it wasn't that straightforward. And that was one of the coolest things about this entire tournament, was that it wasn't so obvious.
Yeah.
I mean, poor Ochako.
Yeah.
But, you know, yeah, Tenya in his fight with the green plant hair lady,
Yeah.
where he just like yeets her out of the stage because he's just so fast.
Yeah.
But yeah, Bakugo won the tournament, number 1.
Yeah, number 1, Bakugo.
Boy, he's like with
whether he liked it or not.
Meanwhile, Midoriya is like in the fucking hospital.
Yeah.
Because of his fucking hand.
And the nurse is like, fucking stop it.
It's like, can you stop with this shit?
For 5 minutes, could you not fucking break yourself? For 5 minutes.
and she's saying, like, she's like, on it, he's so fucked up, I'm not going to be able to heal all of this right now.
Yeah. So he has like scars on his hands.
Yep. So his hand is actually like fucked up, like permanently.
Yeah.
Because just the sheer amount of damage he dealt to it in this tournament. And he's like, and it's cool. Bakugo also is in the. Wait, no, he's not knocked out anymore. That's right.
Yeah, I was gonna say no, he's not.
Yeah. Midoriya, though, in the hospital, he's like, he takes it as motivation to be like, I should, maybe not do this all the time anymore.
Should figure out how to not break myself when using my power.
Yep. And the nurse is like, I'm not healing any more of these. Like, I'm not healing any of these self-destructive fucking injuries anymore.
Yeah.
Like, and she's lecturing All Might. Like, you have to teach him to use this better. Like, because I'm not doing this shit anymore.
Yeah.
Like, this is fucked up. And then basically makes him like, oh, you're gonna have to figure something out.
Yeah.
And All Might's like, yeah, okay,
fine. And then we end up cutting back to Ida when he goes to the hospital, and it's really sad. He like, his brother is alive, but he is like hooked up to oxygen mask and everything.
He's
it's
struggling
like,
to talk, and
it's like he got fucked up.
Turned and it's just like he's fucking paralyzed.
Yeah, it's to the point where he may never be a hero again, like, or he may not ever be able to like really be Ingenium again.
Yeah, because he's saying he tells Ida, he's like, yeah, so paralyzed from the waist down, so my legs probably aren't gonna work ever again.
Yeah,
and it's like, oh,
it like
fuck,
breaks his heart, and it's really hard to watch. It's just like, oh my god, like, this is fucking awful. And then you just did we get a shot of we see the hero killer motherfucking,
because it cuts over to Ingenium. We do see a scene during the tournament where Ingenium actually like goes to try to get involved in a situation, and then we just see it cuts back to Ingenium on the ground, like
blood
bleeding out
everywhere, and he's just
like,
walking away.
And it's like, yo, what the
like,
fuck?
What the fuck?
Because we know Ingenium this whole time. He's such a famous hero name.
Yeah. And
he got like fucking beat the hell up
to the point where he's not gonna be a hero anymore. It's like, oh
shit,
fucking hell.
So we see that, and then it cuts over, and we see the guy himself.
Yeah, he's like over on the rooftops, right? Is that what it was?
For this one, I think it was another rooftop thing.
Yeah, in the daylight.
Mm-hmm. And he's just like, it's just like, oh, this guy's crazy looking.
Mm-hmm.
What the fuck? Because they show him like for like a second at the end of season 1.
They showed him for like a second, yeah.
And it's like, yo, who the fuck is this guy? And then we don't see him for the entire part of season 2 up to this point.
Mm-hmm.
And we're like, oh, he's gone?
Yeah.
But he's like, no, he busy. So Ingenium's fucking out.
Ida is
fucking traumatized.
Heartbroken.
Bakugo is the winner, and he didn't want it.
So mad.
Todoroki finally broke through, a little bit of that barrier of him holding himself back with his fire sign.
Yeah.
We learn Endeavor, his dad, is a piece of shit.
Yeah. All that shit.
That's fucking goddamn it. Midoriya breaking himself to the point where now he has a permanent injury. Not an injury, but he's like fucked up enough to where now he's like scarred and like, ow.
Exactly.
But, ooh.
So I think that pretty much wraps up the tournament arc.
Yeah.
So amazing arc, right? Like
fucking
this shit's
ridiculous.
insane.
I could rewatch this arc.
Like honestly, well, I mean myself rewatching it, like I love this arc. This whole like sports festival tournament arc. It's like this is one of the best arcs just because of the sheer like amount of things happening, the speed at which things are happening.
Yeah.
It shows off all of these kids and the capabilities they have. Kids that we've seen, kids that were just meeting for the first time, like Shinzo. It's like
and their personalities and
like seriously, and even like class 1B, it's like you see some really interesting characters for better or worse, and it's like you kind of hope to see more of them. Yep. Like Tetsu and like
Tetsu. You see the big fist girl. She's in there for like a second.
Like Kendo or something like that. We see her again. Well, she'll come. We'll see her more later. But yeah, and then like even Monoma, like fuck Monoma, but also interesting character. But also fuck Monoma.
Interesting character. Man, he needs some humbling.
Yes, he does. He really does.
God,
he needs the Bakugo treatment.
He really does. And then I don't think anything else happens after the
tournament and Ida. I don't think so either. Oh
yeah.
Okay. One last. That's the last thing. Chris is like skimming through it on his phone. That's what we're looking at.
Yeah, that was one of the cool things because Midoriya got to Todoroki.
Yes.
To the point where Todoroki realizes like he has to come to terms with a lot of things.
Yes.
And like embrace himself, and in order to do that, he has to, fix some of those bridges that he fucking burned. So he goes to the hospital to go see his mom.
He sees his mom for, we can only assume, could be the first time like he's seen his mom.
First time since she fucking burned him.
So it's really sweet. I will say this, the story with Todoroki is so like, there's so much more that happens. Like this isn't the end of his growth with his dad, with his in general, just what he, who he is. It's like there's a lot that'll happen within the Todoroki family drama.
The Todoroki family drama.
Well, because like his dad and like
it's like Family Matters, but the Todoroki family.
Keeping up with the Todorokis.
Oh no.
But no, like there's a lot that goes on in this. Like it was just a really cool beginning to that. Like just seeing that, and yeah, Endeavor's not a good guy. He's not great.
He's really not. He's not a good dude. Todoroki's a good dude. Bakugo, he's working on it. He's fucking so...
One day, maybe.
He's so fucking angry.
One day.
But there's the fact that it literally ends this part, and I know this isn't the end of the season.
No, but this is the end of, like, this tournament arc.
But the way it ends, and it's like, oh, there's a killer out there. It's like, wait, what?
Yep.
And it's like, oh no. What the fuck?
What the fuck?
And it killed a pro hero like Ingenium.
Legit.
But it's like, yeah, he's probably not gonna be able to really take on All Might. But it's like, how many other pro heroes out there are
like
gonna...
All Might isn't like the standard for pro hero. Like he's the number one hero. Like there are plenty of pro heroes out there.
That's what I mean. Like there's so many pro heroes, and this dude took out Ingenium. It's like
well as others.
Yeah, it's like who else is this dude gonna like fucking go after?
Yeah,
it's like,
and yeah, like technically he didn't kill Ingenium, but he fucking got him out of the hero game. Like he paralyzed his feet down. Like he's not coming back. Yeah, he's alive. He'll come for Thanksgiving dinner, but he's gonna be in a wheelchair.
And it's like he's the hero killer. So it makes you think, it's like, why didn't he kill Ingenium? He knew. He's a professional killer, probably. He knows when they're dead, but he chose not to.
Or maybe it was that he killed as a hero, like his status as a hero, like just in. I mean, you think about it, it's like I don't know.
But we will know on the next podcast when we discuss
the Hero Killer Stain arc and the final exam arc.
And the final exam. That is going to be a thick fucking... That's a thick podcast.
It's, basically the second half of season 2. We will discuss that.
Yeah.
But until next time, thank you for watching.
Yeah, this was great.
Hit the like, hit the subscribe. Hope you enjoyed this discussion as much as we did.
Much as we enjoyed watching it.
Yes. But yeah, hit the like, hit the subscribe, ring the bell.
Ding ding.
Ding ding dinner bell. What was tonight's? It was season 2.
The beginning.
The beginning.
You got the
next time will be the second half of dinner.
This is the appetizer. You got the start.
This is like the appetizer and like the first 2 courses of the meal.
Yeah, the next one you're getting the fat plate.
Yeah.
And then dessert.
Exactly. So until next time, thank you for watching. Take care, everyone, and we will see you next time.
That's right.
Have a good one.
Have a good one.
Have a good one.
And as they say, plus ultra.
Plus ultra.